Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Sitting here smelling the food I put in the crock pot, getting hungry. That's about it. How are you? What are you up to?
Just here hanging out with you, Just
Okay.
yeah, I was looking forward to this because I really
Me
like your
too.
channel a lot.
Thank you. I like your channel a lot. And that's what someone put in the chat before. They were like, I forget how they worded it, but basically you're passionate and you care a lot and you can tell. And I love that. It's awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely do care. And
Yeah.
and some of my mods are in here, and I noticed I want to tell them because I know they're big That Umbrella Guy fans. He's live right now. I'm not going to get mad at you if you guys go over there and check him out. You guys don't have to be here for my sake.
They
Uh,
want to know all about you, the little personal questions I'm going to ask. They're not too personal, like yeah, thank you guys about the background. I got this, and I got this little rainbow light, which is really, really cool. I'll show you guys later after this, but it switches all different colors. Like now it's on a purple blue, and with the background, it looks really cool. I've got it like taped to the wall hanging behind me.
it looks awesome.
Thank you. Let's see. How are you guys? Thank you to all the mods, by the way. I so appreciate you taking your time out to be here and help out with chat. And yeah, I hope everybody's having a good day.
Yeah, your mods are awesome. They're great.
They are. I have some wonderful mods, and most of them are they're just really good people. They're not.
I love
I
your I
love
love
the
your
mods.
Purple Rain shirt.
Thank you. I bought this for my mom, and she didn't like the way it fit because she's like a Prince fanatic, and
Okay.
so I'm like, well, I'll wear it. It's still pretty
Sounds
cool.
like she's got good taste. I mean, Prince is awesome.
Yeah, for real.
Notice I say is, not was. Like, if it's still out there, if people are still listening to it, that's immortality right there. That's, he achieved it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is immortality. That's pretty interesting because his work will always be there. And yeah,
Yeah.
let's see what chat has to say. Dylan, hi, Allie and Will. My friend Dylan is a big. She's like every time I'm in your chat, she's in there too, and I'm like, hey, what are you up
Yeah.
to?
Dylan's always, she's been really active in my chat when I've been covering the Joe Clyde Daniels murder trial.
Yeah, yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
she's been
ask you about that here in this and see. Let you tell people about it because there's not enough people talking about it. There's not enough people talking about any of these cases
yeah.
and stuff about.
Yeah. As you know, my channel recently got stricken, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is because of what you just said right now, is that there's not enough people talking about it. I mean, if what I was doing was streaming a trial, and I was adding commentary and giving my opinions on the case and the way that the trial was being run. I mean, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but for whatever reason, people enjoy listening to what I'm talking about. So, and I've been covering this case long before the trial even started. And so this channel, I don't want to blast them on your channel, but this channel, and it's not even they're like a TV show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They just
a lot
happen to
of
have a YouTube channel. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so I'm streaming them because, and what's funny is, it's not like they had cameras there. They were streaming someone else's content themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah.
yeah.
So, and then they go and strike me because they have their little watermark on the screen, and I'm like, that's insane. You know what I mean? And if I'm
Aren't you?
if I'm covering something, I wish that a bunch of creators would have been streaming my content. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because it's
Like,
important. But isn't that like if you're adding your own commentary, isn't that fair use?
it is fair use. I fell under all the categories of fair use. Uh,
Mm.
Apparently it's I think I sent you a screenshot of it too. Apparently it's commentary. as long as you're adding commentary and you're talking about news and criticism, and it's criticism too, then it's fair use. And so I was doing all of that, like literally all of that. Check, check, check. And they struck me. But the way YouTube works is they strike you and then they give you the chance to dispute it. But in the meantime, I suffer because my channel is no longer there. Now, I wouldn't be as upset about it if I was still not monetized, which they took forever to finally send the PIN number in the mail. You know what I mean? Like, it was ridiculous. Like, I waited like a year and a half where I was well eligible for monetization. Yeah. It was ridiculous. But I don't do this for money. Like, you know, I mean, it's nice that I get a little income from doing something that I love doing, but I don't do this for money. You know what I mean? But it's still, when it gets to a point to where you rely on some of that income, you start looking at that as income and start balancing that in your budget. And so for that to happen, even though I wasn't wrong, hurts, you know. But more than anything, it's frustrating that a channel that big with that many subscribers is that petty about monetization, where rather than helping spread awareness on an issue, you know, which is parents murdering their own kids, you know, and how the justice system follows through with it, you know, and deals with it. It's extremely important. So I wish that other channels would have been streaming my content. The last thing I would do is strike them, you know. I mean, even if they're criticizing me, that's okay. Just as long as you're bringing awareness to the issue.
But this is a problem. There are so many people, corporations run the world. They don't care about the issues. They care about the money. So we actually are very lucky to have our own independent little stations that we can say and do whatever we want, you know. But these bigger
sort of I mean, there's still limits, which bothers me. I'm a big free speech guy, but at the same time, you know, I mean, like, I don't think anybody should be shut down for the things that they say, but I mean, that's what's cool about the platform, is, as the way you're putting it, is we have this platform to be able to do this. So in my opinion, if somebody says something you disagree with, well, then you have this forum to use. Speak up on it. Absolutely. You know, challenge them.
So cool. So cool. And nobody can stop you from putting videos out that are about the issues you care about. I mean, you can say what you want, when you want, as many as you want, and that's just cool. Well, to an extent, like you said, because YouTube has their little rules and regulations. But anyways, let me see. Do you want to start with the questions I have?
I mean, yeah, it's your party.
Okay. Well,
I'm just here for the beer.
Okay. So the first question is, for the people who don't already know you, if you had to describe yourself using 3 words, what would they be?
To describe myself using 3 words. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. I don't know. I would definitely say passionate. I would definitely say curious, and I don't know, lustful of life, I guess. I know that's 3 words, but
that's all right. This is still a count.
Pretty much.
That's a good one. Curious. Oh my gosh, I would have never thought of that, but that's a really good one. Okay. I find it interesting that you grew up in West Virginia, at least some time.
Okay.
You were there as a child for some time, about an hour from me, actually. But can you go into that a little bit more?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. My mother is Dominican. She married my father in the Dominican Republic, and he was a resident of St. Louis. And they moved to St. Louis, and Well, my father was already a resident here, but um, so my father passed when I was a year old. So it was just my mom, you know, not knowing any English in literally in the middle of the United States, uh, in the 1970s. So it wasn't like there was a lot of people around speaking Spanish. She had to like really struggle to survive. But my uncle lived in West Virginia. Her brother, and he was a doctor, and he started in Chicago and then moved to West Virginia, and so eventually my mom, I guess, wanted to be closer to him because it was easier to have someone there that was close to her that comes from the same background she does. So we spent some time living there in West Virginia. My mom dated a guy, it didn't work out, and then I think she got a job opportunity back in St. Louis, so we moved back. But I was only in West Virginia for a couple of years, but I loved it. I loved it. I think I was there. What happened was we were in St. Louis, and then we went to Dominican Republic, actually, me and my mom. My brother had already gone to West Virginia to stay with my uncle. But her and I, we moved to Dominican Republic for about 6 months, and then which was awful. It was the worst. And then we went to West Virginia, and I think I lived in West Virginia, I want to say 3 years, at least 2. So yeah, but I was at an age where I remember a lot of things. I saw Return of the Jedi and all that.
Wonder what? That's interesting because my family's from Spain. My mom's dad, they came from Spain. Why are Hispanic people going to West Virginia? It's weird because there's a lot that maybe the coal mines back then, or he was a doctor, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he had his own practice, and my uncle was my doctor. You know what I mean? Like as a kid, I just go, my mom would take me to his office whenever I had anything wrong with me. And obviously there was nobody I trusted more. So I was blessed in that department.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he was the closest thing to a father I ever had. No matter, even if my mom had a boyfriend or was married, my uncle was definitely the closest thing to a father I ever had. His 3 boys are like brothers to me and my brother. So
I'm really sorry to hear that about your dad too. That's tragic. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the tragedy mostly was just how hard my mom struggled, and it really caused a lot of turmoil in our household. But the thing is like my mom, what she ended up being is incredible from it. Yeah, we had a hard time, but now I have the best possible relationship that a son could have with his mother.
Like struggles in your life, that is what makes you better. When you go through hard times, you become wise, you become more compassionate, more understanding, less judgmental. I mean, struggle does make you better, a better person. I'm sure.
Well, I mean, yeah, she's tough as nails. She's one of the most educated people I know. She has like 2 master's degrees. And before she retired, the job that she retired from was she worked for the Catholic Church in order to help refugees, I believe. She even met with President Obama a couple of times. So this woman who came to this country and then didn't know any English, and her husband just pretty much drops dead of a brain tumor. It was the 70s. They couldn't catch it. There was no way to catch it, and so he's gone, but my mom doesn't know any English, and now she probably has a better vocabulary than either one of us put together in English.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super proud of my mom. I'm absolutely proud of my mom.
like finish high school and all of that stuff?
I didn't.
Hold on, someone's calling me and it messed up. I'm gonna exit and come right back in. Okay.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, but I
No
can't hear you
problem.
that well now. One second.
Hi, everyone. um, oh, you guys have like, I love this chat because you guys are like super, super, super kind to each other and like really happy to like interact with each other. I love that. Like when that's happening in my chat, it's really what it's all about. So, and I always say that a chat is a reflection on the creator for sure. So yeah, Alex, you have a great chat, an amazing chat.
Thank you. The people that come in here, I know there's some, there's a lot of drama and different stuff, and especially Watts Island, but there are some of the kindest, most wonderful people on here as well, and
Oh, for sure.
I'm so blessed. Okay, so the high school question is where we left off.
I didn't. I was the epitome of an underachiever growing up. Absolutely. And still kind of am. Less so than ever now, but I was the epitome of an underachiever. I did not take school seriously. I hated school. I hated being told what to do. I was just the epitome of opposition on everything. And it was not it wasn't exactly productive. So I made a lot of bad decisions, but I have no regrets because I also experienced things that most people don't. And I learned a lot from those experiences too. But high school, I think I finished the 8th grade, and then the 9th grade came along. I went to high school. There was a lot more freedom. You could leave grounds to go eat lunch. It was, you know what I mean? There wasn't truant officers all over the high school looking for people like there was in middle school. And so I just pretty much stopped going, and I would only go to guitar class, which was in the last period. So I'd skip all day and get stoned, and then I'd go to guitar class and learn how to play guitar.
That's funny.
And then I just eventually just got withdrawn, and yeah.
I was the same way. My senior year, I slacked a lot because I started partying and stuff, and I was good at school and in sports, and I just gave up it all, and I was kind of doing the same thing, and I would go to like art class. I'd be the same way. I'll get my credit when, the easy ones. But hi, Dave. How are you?
I did get my high school equivalency when I was like 19, I think. I went down a really, really bad path. Because when I was 10, me and my mom moved back to St. Louis, and then when I was 12, just turning 13, I moved to Miami. And before that, I was in a children's center, and in foster care for a couple of years, which was, I mean, it was, the thing is again, I'm glad that happened because I got to experience being around kids that are in these situations. I'm lucky, but I was around kids who had no family at all. They were just in the system, and that was it. And either they made the best of it or they didn't. But I ended up moving to St. Louis, or after that, I went back to live with my mom in Miami after all that, and because she had moved to Miami, and that was very that's when I started really getting into stuff and really making bad choices. And then when I was 19, my stepfather got sick. I had been booted out of the house. I spent time being homeless and everything. And I don't know why my phone, I'm sorry about that. Let me silence that.
Okay. That's okay.
So, all right. So when I was 19, I begged to come back home. I wanted to change, do better, and my stepfather had just been diagnosed with throat cancer. So basically the arrangement was, all right, but you got to take care of him and help take care of him, and so I did, of course. And I did, I did better, but I still made bad decisions. I still, yeah,
God,
but
you've been through it, my Lord, and that's just to adulthood,
yeah,
up until adulthood. But wow. Well, and then to see, that's why you're so passionate and caring and awesome, because you've been through everything. You've experienced life at all, all kinds of different viewpoints. And yeah, I think that's really cool. By the way, hi, Broken Justice. I was wondering where you were. Hadn't seen you in there. And Mermaid, I will definitely go check out your video. For sure. Everybody else too. She does some true crime videos and they're very good. Okay. So what is something about you people would be surprised to learn?
I don't know. Everything is pretty much out there about me. So yeah, I'm a pretty open book already. Like I'm very, very transparent on my own channel.
So nothing?
I mean, nothing that I can think of offhand at the moment.
Okay.
Like, yeah, without, exposing any skeletons in the closet that I'm not going to be suckered into exposing here. But yeah, nothing comes to mind, honestly, at the moment. Maybe something later will.
Yeah, if you think of it, let us know. And okay, let me see what's next. Okay, do you have what are your hobbies? Like, what do you do for fun?
I stream on YouTube. I used to love bowling because there was like a bowling alley. That was like my way of just peace. I hate bowling like with people. I would go by myself, put earbuds in because I can't stand the music that they play in bowling alleys. And then I would just bowl for hours and hours and hours. I wasn't any good at it, but I just like to do it. But nowadays, I love movies. I'm a big movie buff. Obviously I follow true crime, and I used to play music. I was in a couple of bands growing up, and in my adulthood, well into my adulthood, actually. And I was in one band that we actually, got to do stuff that was somewhat noteworthy for me to be satisfied and be like, okay, I got to do that. You know what I mean? Which was, we played shows and got to open for some bands that I really liked, and that was fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. See, more like life experience. Yeah, that's awesome. Some people are really boring and they don't do much, don't go through a lot of struggles, and
well, they don't take any chances. I mean, you got to take a chance and just which, I mean, I'm very guilty of being the same way, of just being too scared to take that leap.
Yeah, me too. Even starting a channel, it was like I thought about it for like at least a year, probably 2 years, and I just could not like make myself do it. And then finally I did. But yeah. Okay, so do you watch a lot of YouTube? And I know I've talked to you about this a little privately, but just for the interview, do you watch a lot? And if so, what channels?
I watch a few channels. I maybe watch more than I realize. Like I love Save Robbie's channel. I love Mexi's channel. I love obviously Annie's channel, 10 to Life. So I'm lucky enough where the channels I like, I actually happen to have like cool relationships with the creators for the most part, which I like a lot. I like John Crime's channel as well. I like as far as like the bigger No Life Shack was live today, which he never goes live. He just posts videos. I love No Life Shack. I was talking about it with my Patreons and Discord. And yeah, I love No Life Shack. He's just this dude who basically reviews new hip hop albums And he also does reaction videos because he just loves music. So he'll do reaction videos to like rock bands that he's never heard of, you know, and he's always just so impressed. Like you could just tell the guy loves life and celebrates it, you know. So like it's always a positive vibe. And I was cracking up talking with my with my Patreon members in the Discord because I shared the link and we were talking about how he has no concept of a moderator. There were no wrenches in his chat. There was like almost 4,000 people in his chat. He had he had no wrenches. He didn't even the concept of slowing the chat down wasn't even a thing for him. And what I realized, I was like, the guy is so big, he's untrollable. The chat was moving so fast that if you put a troll comment in the chat, nobody would even see it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, the dude is a genius. Like he's that big to where he's untrollable. That's YouTube Teflon. It was incredible. I just making that realization, I was like, that is so dope. Good for him. You know, and there's nobody that I love to see that happen with more. You know what I mean? Like, because he's so positive. He deserves all the subscribers that he has. He's just a good dude. You could tell. You know, some people, they just give you a vibe. You know what I mean? He's absolutely that, you know, and his amount of subscribers, like they can't be wrong, you know?
Oh, I cannot wait. I want to check him out. Yeah, for sure. I'll have you send me a link or something later because I've never heard of him.
I like Christina Randall too. I have kind of a crush on Christina Randall. yeah, she's awesome. Beautiful,
but also funny.
She's been to prison, you know, she's seen it. You know what I mean? That's attractive. You know what I'm saying? Like she's been to prison, she's been in it. You know what I mean? So that's attractive. I'm not gonna lie. You know, so yeah, I watch her for superficial reasons mostly.
Yeah, she's beautiful, but also she's actually really funny, and her stories are like good stories. And now she's
only her would I be interested in, you know, watching someone deep clean dreadlocks. Like I'm like, okay, that's fascinating.
I watched that too. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, let's see. What made you start your channel?
Probably the fascination with true crime. I had thought about it. And I remember I was in a Watts Facebook group when the case was actually going on, and I was an admin. It was already crazy. It was, I mean, that case and the way that people deal with it surrounding it was already crazy from the word go. It just happened to get even crazier when he pled guilty. That's when everything just took a hard left turn. And people just started going at each other. It was insane. But the reason why I started my channel, I mentioned that I was living on the streets for a while when I was a young adult. And I had a friend that lived on the streets with me. He was older. He was definitely less wet around the ears like I was. I was a little guy, and you know, the people that I hung around with were more protective of me than anything. And him just being that guy, we became best friends. I mean, he was the kind of guy that when he had a girlfriend and she was on the streets with us too, but sometimes she could stay at her mom's. Sometimes her mom would let her stay with her. Those times he was allowed to go with her most of the time. But if that meant me being on the street by myself that night, Scott wouldn't go. Scott would stay and hang out with me, just to be protective of me. And in, I believe it was 2008, because I don't really think about it all that much. I think it was 2008. He was murdered. It was actually a very high profile case. It's crazy because we grew up, you know, he got married, we went our separate ways. And then I was a body piercer at a tattoo shop on South Beach. Years and years later, we were already in our 30s. and he somehow ended up back with his stepfather, who actually had a house on Star Island. Fun fact about that: the house that he had on Star Island is the house that they filmed Scarface. It's Scarface's house. The white one, yeah, right there on the right. So that house was, he was living in it, and they had a boat, and the boat was called the Joe Cool, and him and his half brother Jake would they would go on these fishing competitions and just kill it and make a bunch of money on the fishing competitions. And then one day, some guy and a guy he had with him, a younger guy, asked them to give them a ride to Bimini, and they would pay him $4,000, which is ridiculous, because why are you willing to pay $4,000 for that? So it smells dirty. So I still kind of criticize them for making that bad decision, because they should have seen that. And Scott, I know Scott very well, and he's much more street smart than that. And I think he knew it was shady, but just thought, well, I mean, who cares? They're not going to hurt us. You know what I mean? They're, you know, I get it. Like, they're just trying to run from the cops. It's an easy $4,000. I don't know what their story is. As long as I don't ask, it's plausible deniability. I know Scott. I'm not sure that's what he was thinking, because nobody knows. But I know Scott, and I know that's what he was thinking when that happened. Yeah. Because we've been in numerous situations together where we had to make judgment calls. Whether, you know, and sometimes it was poor judgment, but most of the time, you know, we came out okay. But I know Scott was not naive in that sense. And so what the guys ended up doing, and you could look it up, you could look up the Joe Cool murders. They even did like ID Channel has done things on it and all stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. These guys, what they ended up doing was shooting everybody once they were out on the ocean, killing everyone on the boat, throwing them off the boat, and then they couldn't even figure out how to drive the boat. And the idea was to steal the boat and get asylum in Cuba. And so, yeah, they died for nothing. It was 4 people, orphaned 2 little boys. His half brother Jake and his wife were both on the boat, and their kids are orphaned.
Oh my gosh, that is horrible. Wow.
So I ended up kind of being obsessed with, like, why does this happen to somebody like Scott? You know what I mean? Still in the back of my mind, knowing I'm never going to come up with the answer, but I cannot not explore it, you know? And then what ended up happening was, then I got into the Watts case. I was into the what do you call it? What was her name? One of the first cases that I got really, really into was the gosh, what is her name? Why can't I remember it? I was obsessed with the case.
I do that all the time.
Missy Beavers, the Missy Beavers case. Missy Beavers was murdered, and there's video footage of the murderer, and it's still cold. It's still unsolved. Yeah, and so I got really into that and joined Facebook groups, whatnot. I wasn't watching YouTube, and I wasn't watching YouTube, but I was in Facebook a lot in Facebook groups, and then the Watts thing came along, and that changed everything. And then I met Critical K. She wanted a male counterpart. And I thought, okay, you know, I've always kind of wanted to do the YouTube thing. And she, you know, so we had a lot of really interesting conversation on the Watts case. And then she was like, I'm going to bring you on my show, blah, blah, blah. And she took forever doing it, because she was, like, you know, really paranoid, because she had a lot of haters already, and she was afraid that I had maybe an alternative motive or something. But then, you know, I earned her trust, and then we ended up, you know, actually having a pretty good dynamic for a while there. But then I started my own channel because I knew I had things of my own that I wanted to say, and I'm not very good at being a sidekick either. So,
Wow, I did not know that. That is so interesting. Huh.
yeah.
Well, this is a good question then for you next. What experience do you have with online trolls, bullies, and or online harassment?
Oh, Jesus.
But you
Like,
don't have to go into
how much
detail, like,
time do we have?
yeah, you don't have to go into like detail of names or anything. Just like kind of for the people who might want to start a channel, just like what have you learned from it, and a brief. I don't want you to. Don't want you to put out anything too personal that will start any.
I mean, it's not uncommon to be doxxed. I've been doxxed. It happens. Like the trolls, to me, trolls. I mean, there's nothing more harmless unless you're just doxxed. But trolls are nothing. Trolls feed me content, if anything. A troll shows up in my chat, then I'm just gonna out troll you. Like my mods refer to me endearingly as the troll because I'm going to out troll you. Period. You cannot troll me. I'm gonna reverse it on you, and I'm gonna spit it all over your face. That's just how I am. And I enjoy it. It's fun. You know what I mean? So trolls don't bother me. Channels that talk about me and use me for content, I just express how little respect I have for that. So I mean, to me, I mean, like, how lame are you if that's really I'm the root of your content? Really? Like, I mean, there's millions, literally millions and billions of things you could be talking about, and you're talking about me. Like, okay, you know what I mean? So if anything, it's flattering.
Yeah.
So I look at not too much, no. Once in a while. And I mean, I find it flattering more than anything. So I just I try to find a silver lining in everything, and like I say, I try to make it work in my favor. So I don't necessarily believe in online bullying. I don't even believe in that term for the most part, because I mean, it affects you as much as you allow it to affect you, unless it's doxing and straight up harassment. That's different, of course. And there's no excuse for that. And you should be locked up if you're messing with somebody's personal life to that point. You have grounds to be sued. Absolutely. If you're messing with someone's personal life behind the scenes. This is a fair game platform, man. I have a channel. If you got something wrong with it, so that's what I'm saying. If I actually got respect for somebody who actually goes on their channel and talks about me more than anybody who's going to dox, you know what I'm saying? Like, if get up there and speak your mind about what your problem is with me. If it's bothering you so much to the point where you got to do something, then yeah, get on a channel and speak up. Good for you.
Well, I think you're so right. I think that I have to do better of letting, and not just on YouTube, just in general, letting things bother me that are out of my control, that really don't affect me or my, in a way that it would like hurt my kids or whatever. I think sometimes you have to let stuff roll off your back, but it can be hard. It can be really hard, especially if you're sensitive.
Yeah. And then, striking my channel for such a petty reason, you know what I mean? Like, I have the alternate channel. I'm going to blast the hell out of those people because they're already big. I'm not going to do them any favors. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is that's what happens. Like, that's the worst thing a big channel can do, is strike a smaller channel, in my opinion. Like, it's pathetic and petty and childish and small and tiny, to do that. You know what I mean?
Well, is there any computer system that could have done that, or did they have to go in and do it?
They have to do it. Like, the owner of the channel has to do it. Right. And so and there's like moderators. Today they were live covering the trial, and I just spammed the hell out of the chat. I can't even believe that they didn't block. That took as long as they did to block me. I couldn't even believe it. I got everybody in my Discord, go in there and spam it, you know, because I'm like you're not advocating for children. You're not doing this for the right reasons. And to block and to strike somebody who is disgusting and low.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no other. So yeah, I trolled the hell out of that chat. I spammed the hell out of that chat. And I would have kept doing it had they not blocked me. I'm surprised it took them so long to block me.
See, you're being a troll. With it, Will was trolling.
They deserved it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they absolutely deserved it. You know, and it's super hypocritical because they were streaming somebody else's content themselves.
Yeah, that is super hypocritical. Come on now, get real. But,
yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the toxicity that surrounds Watts Island? Even though there are some amazing, really wonderful people there and stuff, but it seems to be like more toxic than most cases.
It's not the case that's toxic. It's the people that are obsessed with it that make it toxic. My personal opinion is the case is closed. It's been closed. The answers are there. Everything's in the discovery. The CBI and the local sheriff's department there did a great job in their investigation and collecting evidence, and they did enough to where they managed to persuade Chris Watts to plead guilty and admit what he did, which is the best possible closure that could come for that family. And unfortunately, we're not allowing them to have that closure because we won't stop talking about it. We won't let it go. And we keep coming up with these ridiculous conspiracy theories. And this family, no matter what you think of them, no matter what your opinions are of who they are as people, they still have earned that closure. They still have earned the right to mourn peacefully of their family members. I mean, this is 2 little girls and a pregnant woman, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, leave it alone.
Now, I'm on the side where I'll have to respectfully disagree because I think it's possible there was someone else involved, maybe, and I don't know, but I totally appreciate your opinion, and I agree. I think now they're gonna talk about these cases forever, but there's respectful ways to do it as well, and disrespectful ways. Like some of the crazy stuff that I've heard is just way far out there, but I don't know.
I listened to the Nicole Kessinger interview with my ear to it, and I went over it, and I went over it, and I went over it, and I was in the Watts group while it was going on. I saw this phenomenon taking place and forming and growing and building. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the theory that Nicole Kessinger was involved is simply spawned from a dislike for her being the other woman. That is where it spawned from. That's it. There's no evidence to indicate that she was guilty or involved in any way, shape, or form. There's literally no evidence. I don't care how people try to twist it. I don't care how people try to shine a light on one little piece of the discovery and make it seem like it's something that it's not, because that's what they do, because it's there in plain black and white. There's no evidence of her involvement. So, and the fact of the matter is, does it suck for her that she decided to mess with a married guy and he ended up murdering his entire family? That's what you get. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't agree with the scrutiny that she's getting, but sorry, but maybe next time don't mess with married dudes. You know what I'm saying? The universe has its way of just working itself out, and sorry, honey, you screwed up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely true. Okay, so just one more question and we'll move on to another case because I don't want to stay here too long. But I just thought of this. So what do you feel about like don't you at least think it's kind of strange that the Google searches and stuff a year prior, because that stuff just, I don't know.
That's a woman. That's a woman who knows that she's with a married man and sees the wife as competition. That doesn't mean that she planned a murder. That's every single woman who has ever been with a guy who was married knowingly, literally. And of course she's doing Google. She didn't do any Google searches on strangulation. She didn't do any Google searches on getting rid of a body. She did Google searches on Shanann to find out who she was because she felt threatened by her, obviously. And but is it a motive for murder? Sure, a lot of things are a motive for murder, but that doesn't mean that they actually murdered somebody. I'm pissed off at my job. If somebody goes in there shooting, then okay, that's a motive, but doesn't mean I did it because I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make the point that when you have a woman like Nicole Kessinger, who I felt was absolutely and totally transparent with the police, and I actually feel bad because they released this discovery without redacting any of her personal information, and so now she's, on top of being the most hated woman in America at the time, she's doxxed on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is awful for her, and since there's no evidence of her being involved in a murder, I think that she's had enough, I personally.
Well, now she has her name changed, so she can kind of move on. I do think there's discrepancies in when she Googled him, if it was before she admitted to knowing him, and some other things, but let's just move on to the next case. Because I don't want to, people get all upset and stuff about that case, and I want to keep positive. So the next one is kind of crazy too. Now I've got a few cases that I know that you're familiar with, and I kind of know some of your thoughts and opinions, but I wanted to run through those, see if you could give me like a brief summary of, what you understand to be true about it and your opinions. But first, now this is not a homicide, but you mentioned you were friends with Annie from 10 to Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you guys both separately and sometimes together were covering a case about a little girl who was in a custody battle. Now this was huge at the time. I remember watching it, and I wasn't on YouTube, but I was watching some about it. I watched Annie about it. I think I watched her collab with you and maybe another guy or something like that a long time ago.
The Dad Challenge podcast.
Yeah.
That was Josh. Yeah. Great guy.
That was who it was, actually, because I remember the name. But so I know it's been crazy, and I actually searched today and saw there was a video from 2 weeks ago someone put out saying that the court said that it was like parental alienation or something like that. Now, I don't know if that's true, so I was going to ask you, what was your experience with that case, and do you have any like thoughts or opinions you can talk about?
When Michael Long behaved as irresponsibly as he did by getting his head a little too big from all the attention he was getting, and ended up shacking up basically with one of his admins from his Facebook group or something to that effect. That's when both Annie and I completely lost respect for him. Annie confronted him on my channel. And at that point, I don't speak for Annie. You would have to ask her what her feelings and her involvement currently is and whatever. I don't think that she's involved with it, but I have nothing to do with it. Once that happened, I stopped even dealing with it because he was the last chance for Sophie to get to be safe. And he blew his credibility. So what's happening now, which I don't even really know the details, but whatever's happening now is a predictable result for what his behavior was when I decided to cut ties with him.
So I actually watched that live today. I was trying to like brush up on some of your stuff, and it was one with you and Annie alone on this one. And it was when you found out about him being with the admin and Courtney had went out there. But I just want to say, chat was asking what happened. So there was a viral video of a young girl, I think she was 9 at the time, right? Sophie Long.
Yeah.
And she was going on a visit and she didn't want to go, and it was awful. I mean, it was heartbreaking. Now there's been a ton of online stuff back and forth about if she was coached, if she wasn't, all of that. Her dad had, I mean, he collected what, over $200,000 in a GoFundMe? That's a lot of money. I heard that in the video today. I was shocked. But so there's been a lot of controversy around it. So if you look, there's a video that was posted 2 weeks ago that said that the dad was coaching Sophie. The court ruled that dad was coaching her the whole time, which
I don't know
was
anything about that.
You
I don't know
gotta
anything about that.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's true or not. You have to like get the court papers. She didn't put them in her video, but she's like, if you go check, go do the digging. So I was shocked to hear that, because watching that video, if so, she's a very good actress at 9 years old.
I mean, my take on all this is I'm concerned with crime. Okay. Personal family issues, none of my business. So once I saw that there was no chance of there being a thorough investigation into Sophie's claims, I ejected myself from the situation completely. I was only interested in that. I don't care who's sleeping with who. I don't care who's divorcing who. I don't care who's wearing whose underwear. I don't care about any of that. I never have. So that's as far as my involvement goes.
Because it wasn't really, the internet didn't get involved, by the way, you guys, because it was a custody case. The little girl was claiming, things were happening, very bad things had been happening. And anyways, we can move on to the next one, because that one gets, people riled up as well. But it was a huge part.
It gets me riled up. I'm not going to lie. I don't enjoy talking about it.
So let's move on then. Yeah, I could tell your whole demeanor changed. You're like, I don't know about that. I don't know.
I don't.
Okay. So I know that when I was doing, some about the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. Do you have any opinions or thoughts on that one? Because I know you seem pretty knowledgeable about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's a Lifetime movie dream. You know what I mean? A Lifetime movie producer's dream is what that case is. So it's totally insane. There's a lot which makes it kind of difficult to really follow and understand what's happening. And then finally I got it. And you know what did it is the cult aspect of it, the suicide or the doomsday cult aspect of it. I realized that that's not even really relevant in this entire thing. That's what made everything else connect for me and make sense. That's just something that the press uses to sell the story and make it more interesting. You put the words doomsday cult on a headline and you're going to sell whatever you're selling. You know what I mean? Whether it be a TV show, whether it be a newspaper, whatever. To me, it's just all money, greed. The motive is greed. The motive was absolutely greed. The kids disappearing was also that she just didn't want to be a mom anymore. She wanted to live with this dude who, and basically they planned it together because this guy I know this guy. We know this guy killed his wife. We know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no doubt in my mind that this dude killed his wife and then collected the insurance money for it. So I have no doubt in my mind. And what made it so crazy was these kids were missing forever. And it was already huge in the news, where people are following them around, trying to interview them and asking them, where are your kids? And they're just like, no comment. Like, what? How dare you? No. You need to let us know where your kids are. What's going on? So that the audacity of that was just fascinating. I was just like, what is going on with these people? But yeah, I believe all of it. All of it was just the motive was to basically retire and live happily ever after, the two of them, without any responsibilities whatsoever, and collect money. And everyone, people were killed to cover up. Actually, I believe the kids were murdered. The oldest kid was murdered because she was a witness to the murder of
Charles.
of Lori's ex-husband.
Charles, yeah.
Charles, right. So I believe she was a witness to that, and that's why she was murdered.
Yeah, that's interesting. She could have been. I have, like,
she
I'm
was.
working on.
She was there. She was there when.
Yeah, there, but I mean, she could have been like, that could have been why she was killed. But I have like this whole chart I'm working on. These are like all the characters involved, but I'm not going to show it too much. I got these big poster boards. I'm going to do like a graph to explain, because my last video, a lot of people were, there's so many people and moving parts. And so I think that will, I'm excited to do that. I'll probably do that in the next couple days.
Alex Cox is pay attention to him a lot when you guys listen to Alex explain this case. Keep a good focus on Alex Cox, because he's the center of a lot of things going on. So I definitely believe he was a hired hitman.
Yes, he was.
Absolutely.
It's crazy the twist and turn. I'm so excited to do that. Okay, let me get back to my little questions. By the way, the person who said I could be the next Ellen, I think it was Hope for Peace. That was so sweet. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I used to love Ellen's show. It used to crack me up. And now there's a lot of rumors that she was never even nice. It was a whole act, which is crazy to even think about.
Yeah. There's the word is that she was awful. I love finding stuff like that out, though. It makes me laugh.
They said that to walk in her office, that she had like gum at the door, and you had to chew gum before you talk to her, and you can't look her in the eyes. That was some of the things that were being
said. That is fantastic.
That's funny. Okay, another one. Now this one is really special, and to me, and I know it is to many people on here, the Gannon Stauch case. So I know that you're knowledgeable about that, and you've talked about that some. But what got you into that, and what are your opinions on kind of where it's at right now and what's happening?
Where to start, man? Well, I don't know. There was something about Gannon that I just related to. Something about him as a kid, and just reminded me of me as a kid. Something about it. So it really, really, really struck home when he went missing. And it's funny because Leticia Stauch, I was like the only person on YouTube not condemning this woman immediately. Like, I was in a way. I just wasn't accusing her of murder yet. You know what I mean? I was like, just that doesn't make her a murderer. Her acting crazy on social media, her doing an interview with her back turned to the camera, that doesn't make her a murderer. It makes her an a-hole, but it doesn't make her a murderer. She's definitely guilty of being an a-hole, but she's not a murderer. Not necessarily. We don't know that yet, is what I was saying. So I was definitely addressing a lot of YouTubers that were just jumping to that conclusion. Because I have a big problem with that, I have a big problem with that because we saw this happen to Shane Carey, and that was not okay. It was the Heidi Broussard case, and her boyfriend was dragged all over the internet because he did a TV interview crying, and everybody was like, he did it. And I'm like, dude, for all we know, this guy is missing her and worried the most out of everyone, and you're calling him a murderer on top of it, and you don't even know what happened to her. She's just missing. We don't know what's going on, so everybody is just real quick. their lifetime movie instincts kick in, and they start seeing people like they're characters in a movie instead of realizing that they're real people with a tragedy that's taking place in their lives. And it's important, in my opinion, that we remember that these are real people, with feelings and with struggles, and we have to be more empathetic. That's my opinion on that. But with Leticia Stauch, though, I mean, I didn't mind being very transparent, as far as I was just like, this is a bad person. You know what I mean? She's a bad person, but doesn't make her a murderer, not yet. Then when she was arrested for murder, and then the original affidavit, her arrest affidavit, was released with all the details, that's when I was convinced, and I was like, yeah, she needs to go down. Absolutely. And so, and her the way she's dealing with this trial, COVID really bought her a lot of time, and she's extremely manipulative, and it's crazy. She's one of those people that I find the most irritating. There's a type of person that I find really irritating, and that's one of those really smart idiots.
Yeah.
She's a smart idiot is what she is. She knows how to manipulate situations and can't make sense when words are coming out of her face, and it's frustrating. So her manipulating this case is very disrespectful to Landen, very disrespectful to Al, and not just taking responsibility. Just take responsibility. Plead guilty. Let the family move on. We know you did it. There's plenty of evidence. We are, as the public, very rarely does this happen where we know what the police have. We know what they have. Yep. We don't know. We don't even know all they have. We just know that what we do know that they have is plenty. You know what I mean?
They have 30,000 pages of discovery. At least like a month or two ago they did. What we saw in that arrest affidavit, which I've thought about going through that on here, because the different lies and stories she told and the things she did. I mean, you could very clearly see that she was spiraling out of control, and she did not know what to do. And Melissa, I wanted to highlight your comment, because I remember that. What she said was, when we find Gannon, everybody owes me an apology. Not when we find Gannon.
Oh yeah. What's funny about that statement was it was a response to a question, and the question was, when you find Gannon, what's or what, I can't remember what it was. I went over that video, that interview, like 3 times on my channel, just commenting over it, like breaking it down. But I can't remember what the question was, but it was crazy. She totally turned it into, I can't wait till you're here so that you can prove to everybody that, that they were wrong about me, and it was insane that happened. It was insane that happened. But it was crazy because it was an answer to a very legitimate question. And it was to give her the opportunity of showing empathy and interest. But you can always tell when a parent's priority isn't describing what that child likes, what they look like, pleading like, keep your eyes open. This is what you need to look for if you see my child. When you don't see that, that is a huge red flag.
Absolutely.
She's clearly guilty, and I really hope that justice is served, which I know it will be, but it's an injustice that she's making such a farce and a circus out of this trial.
Yeah, she really is. Oh my gosh, Teresa. By the way, hi, Teresa. I put your comment on the screen because Will was talking, but I wanted to say hi. But I did not hear that Al is engaged, but maybe he should just take a deep breath and wait and get through this, because these women, like, oh.
I don't know anything about Landen. My experience with Landen is I've had very kind text message exchanges with her. I've asked her, more like offered her to come on the channel. I didn't ask her to because, you know, I'm weird about that. When it comes to the family, I'm not looking for a scoop and I'm not looking for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do want to give family members an opportunity to address
Yeah.
the public when they're getting a lot of scrutiny. So I was like, my channel is your channel if you ever want to do that, you know.
That was sweet.
But she was like she said she wanted to, but she said that she was getting advice from her attorney to not talk to anybody,
Yeah.
which I understand.
She told me
Absolutely.
the same thing. Because I've met her on TikTok. She has a TikTok and she does tons of videos, some about the case, some about her personal life, like some are just
That's
uplifting.
surprising.
You should go on there because she's growing fast and she makes videos like for people that are going through hard times and stuff. It's just wonderful. So I made a video about Gannon. She got tagged in it. We started messaging, then we got exchanged phone numbers, and I asked her the same thing. If you ever want to tell your story, you are welcome. And she said, you know, after court is done, I will. I'm going to scream his story from everywhere I can. I will never let it be forgotten, but she has to wait until court is over, and I respect that totally. And we're not very close, but we've had very nice messages back and forth, and she seems wonderful. I feel
She was
awful
very
for her.
kind to me, yeah, and she was very receptive. I let her know when Gannon first went missing. We have these outside lights that illuminate the side of the building, the front of the building, all over the front of the building. You could see it from the highway, and you could set them to any color. So I set them to blue, and I
Oh,
and I made it a point because I was the closer at my job, and I made it a point that those lights were always blue. And even still, what's really cool and really touching is even still, like, I don't work there anymore, and I don't have control over that. And I told myself, I was like, those lights are staying blue until Leticia's convicted. And I didn't have any control over that anymore. But I told some of my coworkers about it, and every time I've gone to the store or something and seen it, you know, they kept the lights blue even after I don't work there anymore, which I think is amazing.
that is awesome. Oh, I hope they keep him for a while. That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't like the way she's making a joke of the whole thing, dragging things out, screaming and wailing and spinning circles, and the threats in her peanut butter and her attempted
I
break.
mean,
And like,
it makes for great content when you're covering the case. I'll give her that. You know what I
that's
mean? Like
true.
I enjoy thoroughly making fun of her. I thoroughly enjoy doing it. But at the same time, like, I do wish that she wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? I wish that she would just plead guilty and give this family some peace. But as long as she's going to act like a jerk, I'm going to portray her that way, and I'm going to roast her like constantly.
Well, in one of Landen's most recent videos, when they postponed court again, and like it's hurting them. Them postponing this, I mean, it hurts them. Not only are they, she has to, which one of her friends set up a GoFundMe for her, and I think I've got that somewhere. I'll try to come back and link it. But for her trips out there, because she has to go to Colorado back and forth with, she's got small children, and every time they postpone it because of her shenanigans, I don't want a lawyer. I want a lawyer now, you know, blah, blah, blah. Then it's just hurting them more. It's dragging it out. I
I
mean,
I
it's wrong.
I I feel sorry. Obviously, I feel sorry most for Landen and Al, of course, but I feel so sorry for her representation. Like, I can imagine any lawyer is going, there is so much evidence against you. You need to plead guilty. This is the best way to go. And she's like, no. You know what I mean? Can you imagine having to deal with a personality like hers directly? And you're trying to help her. You know what I mean? But she's just like, no, because when she decided she wanted to represent herself, that was apparent. That dynamic with her attorney was apparent to me. I was like, this is a person trying to help her, and she's not taking the help,
Mhm.
and she's making this more and more difficult because she won't take any accountability for what she's done.
And the way she talked about her attorneys, you could tell that you are absolutely right because
Yeah.
she was, yeah, you could tell. I know one day, oh, you know what? They were, I made a TikTok um, when they found her competent, and someone commented in there because I mentioned the death penalty, and they
Twice.
said,
They found her competent twice.
yeah. And they said that the death penalty, you know, was off the table in Colorado. But if the crime happened before like June or July of 2020, it is not off the table from what I'm
Oh,
hearing. Do you know
I
anything
wasn't
about?
aware of that.
That's what I heard. I need to double check, but yeah, which would be
Oh,
great.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if there's anybody that I'd like to see, uh, you know, go under that needle, it's her.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
me too.
Without a
And
shadow of the doubt.
did you see her newest letter where she's like, I'm just trying to protect my son. My stepson was, on drugs and blah, 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 trying
What
to say,
stepson? Yeah, I went
she,
over that letter. I was like, "What stepson? What is going on here? What is she talking about?" And
I,
apparently, she has somebody like that. I mean, I don't know. I heard. I don't know.
oh, I didn't know
Um,
that. See, I thought Gannon was the stepson, and my theory was she's making this person up to have an
yeah,
excuse.
like Eguardo, good old Eguardo.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Leticia Stauch just makes people up out of thin air, like Eguardo. I mean, that dude is not a dude. He's not a real thing. He's just not. So, like I said, it makes for very, very interesting content, for sure.
Sorry about that.
Now you're
When
good.
someone calls my
This happens
Facebook
to me all the time.
Messenger, yeah, it kicks. If someone calls you on Facebook Messenger and it comes through StreamYard, does it completely like mess up your sound?
Um, it's weird. Like my camera will go out, but I realize I think it's just my computer. I think it's that USB port in my computer that's just worn at this point from because I break down and set up, whenever I go live. So many times, using the USB port probably wore it out. But there's another USB port that I'm using now, so it's fine. But yeah, I don't like StreamYard. I have OBS now, but I haven't been using it yet because I don't really know how to use it. Streamlabs OBS.
No,
Um,
I haven't heard
but
of
it's
that.
but it's better, it's just better. A lot of the bigger creators use that. They don't use StreamYard. And the only feature that I really like about StreamYard is being able to panel like this. But if I plan on paneling, I'll use StreamYard. You know what I mean? For live. But
Yeah,
unless I'm going to do that, then I'm going to try to avoid using StreamYard because I always have problems with it.
yeah, I do
Uh,
too. It's
it
a mess.
yeah, and it's convenient, you know what I mean? And it's real easy to use, but unfortunately it just has too many glitches.
Yeah, it does. Sound, the weird noise, delays, all that stuff. Look, Deb said Alex and Will just bounce off each other. It's cool. Most panels people are fighting each other to get a word in and cutting each other off, and it makes me anxious. Well, it can be hard not to do that if there's a delay, because I catch myself sometimes like talking over someone, and I never mean to do that. So
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, okay. Another case I wanted to ask you about was Suzanne Morphew. And I know you had, like the live I watched the other day, Mexi was out there.
Yeah,
Out.
man. God bless Mexi for being out there in Colorado. And I'm skeptical about the stuff that he does, more or less. But the Suzanne Morphew thing was something beneficial for me. I was just proud to be part of it because I had not been, that was the first time that I was like, seeing first person that area. You know what I mean? So Mexi being
Cool.
boots on the ground like that was really, really cool. And in an open case, like I said, I'm skeptical about the paranormal stuff. It doesn't mean I don't believe in it. It's just that I don't, I question everything. That's just how I am. I question everything.
Yeah,
So, but he, the thing is with the Morphew case, it's still an open case. We don't have answers. We don't know where her body is. We don't know what happened. So I thought it was beneficial if maybe he could actually get answers, if that paranormal stuff, would work in that case. And I think he's actually, he's going to go over that stuff tomorrow, I think. So hopefully, I don't know if he wants me to be on panel with him for that or not, but I'm definitely going to be in the chat for that. Absolutely.
Oh, I will too, because that is super interesting. Like you said, we haven't even seen the discovery. We know nothing.
Right.
We just know the bit, like the little tiny details, just the bare necessities to like.
I think that I think that they either found a murder weapon, or they found evidence and know where she was murdered, and found evidence of her murder and the method of it, because he's one of his charges that they added on to Barry Morphew was something about a rifle, you know, a
That
short rifle.
one. Yep.
Yeah. So apparently I mean, that tells me he shot her, and the cops know.
Yeah, it's interesting because they had the house, if you remember, for like 9 or 10 days. I don't recall exactly. I don't want to say for sure, but I'm sure you guys in the chat know. You're so there's so many brilliant people out there. And Amy, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, Will goes on way too late for me. I
Yeah,
do
I
listen
do.
to him while I'm working. Yes, thank you, Amy. I saw you said hi in there, and I was gonna say hi, but he was talking, so I didn't want to interrupt. Oh, Debs, thank you. Thank you, guys. Sulfur Music, they probably found blood in the home or something, and I'm wondering that too, because they
They
kept it.
Yeah, that tells me it's like I said, it's either that or they found the murder weapon, and can prove But if they found the murder weapon and they're charging him with murder, and there has to be a way that they could prove that it's the murder weapon, which means that they probably found evidence of the murder wherever it took place. And I'm thinking that he burned the body. That's what I think. Because that's also vaguely one of his charges, more or less, of how of disposing of the body or something. I know I don't have the charges in front of me, but
There's a YouTuber named Tyson Draper, and he was up there walking around in the woods and found by the house and found a huge burn spot, and he just uploaded it like yesterday or the day before. If you go to his channel, so that is interesting.
I'm not a big fan of Tyson Draper, if I'm being honest. I didn't
don't like
because
that. So.
again, Perry Morphew was one of those cases where I'm like, for all we know, he's worried about his wife. You know what I mean? We don't know. You know, so we didn't have any information. We didn't have enough information. I mean, if I can come up with a reasonable doubt myself, you know what I mean? Then I'm not ready to start throwing accusations at a loved one. You know what I mean? So, and that's what was happening. People are talking about, oh, well, what about the chlorine smell in the room and the towels and the insurance papers? I'm like, the guy owns his own business. Who knows what those insurance papers were for? Maybe he went in the pool. There were different people who said that the pool was closed during COVID and that it was open during COVID or whatever. So I mean, you know, so if I'm sitting there and I can create doubt and say maybe he went swimming, you know what I mean? If I can do that with literally everything that somebody throws at me about what about this and what about that, then I'm not ready to throw an accusation at this guy. But I do trust the CBI. You know, I do. I mean, history's taught us that they're credible in the way that they conduct investigations. So once they arrested him, then I was like, okay. I'm definitely leaning that way now.
Yeah, I totally agree.
With the charges that they have on them, that tells me that they have enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm ready to say, now I never said that I thought he was innocent, because I never actually did, but I just wasn't ready to publicly start throwing stuff at this guy. You know what I mean? But now, you know, now I'm like, yeah, dude, you know, with the charges that he has on him right now, like I'm guessing that they have enough to put him away.
Thank you, Broken Justice. I absolutely love you so much. She really wonderful person. And let me see. Melissa Jade says, they may find trace evidence. He's smart enough to dispose of her properly, and he's a hunter. And I know where I come from, like my uncle, there's a lot of hunting, and they know all about some gruesome stuff.
I'm in complete agreement with Melissa Jade on that comment. Absolutely. I think that he absolutely, like, her body is nowhere at this point. It's non-existent.
Sulfur Music, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And Teresa S., I don't know what 126 page arrest affidavit. Oh, that's how long it is. I didn't know that, but yes, it will be. Amy Eck, there has been some speculation that he could be the Delphi killer. I'm not jumping on that. They do think they have that guy now, right? Though, like that.
I heard something about it. I know of the case, but I've never actually really delved deep into it. I haven't listened to them in a long time, actually, years technically. But I used to listen to this podcast called True Crime Garage, and those two guys are like really funny. They're smart, like, because they got this gimmick of drinking beer and so they managed to get like independent breweries to like sponsor each episode, and they'll say this week's episode is brought to you by this blah 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 out of so and so, and then they explain the beer and then they get into the crime, but I don't think they're actually drinking while they're live, or while they're not live, but while they're recording their podcast. I don't think they're actually drinking. I think it's just their gimmick, because they would sit around and talk about true crime and drink beer in their garage. Yeah, you're cool dudes.
Sorry about that. KNS, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And let's see.
I was saying, because and they talked about the Delphi case, and that's why I brought them up. Sorry. That's as much as I know about it.
Well, you know what? I know they had found a guy they thought could have been the guy. But I will say I did an interview not long ago about a young man who's missing from Canada. It's a case that's not being covered very much, but Linda from It's a Crime is covering it. She's about the only person that I've seen cover it, but that I can think of. So the girl was kind of a suspect in this case. So it's her boyfriend's best friend who was missing. They all lived together, and people were thinking that they were involved. And let me tell you, I got comments calling her everything about the way she looked, the way she talked, awful things, that she should kill herself. I couldn't believe it. And people really thought that she was guilty. So about a week or two ago, they put out a statement to police that they don't even think it was a homicide at this point. And I feel really bad for her, because she's like 19 years old. I can't imagine. It's hard to handle that kind of stuff at 30, but when you're young, it would be really hard, because I'm sure she felt like the whole world was attacking her, because they were. Thousands of people. That video got quite a few views, and most of them didn't. They thought she was guilty, and they let her know. So it's crazy. You cannot jump to conclusions like that.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know what police have.
Yeah, you're really messing with someone's life, like that's awful.
Yes, it really is. Yep. Okay. The last one I wanted to ask you about, and then I need to run because I have to go pick up a friend and give her a ride. That's who's blowing me up. But this was more important for now. But anyways, okay. The case that you're currently streaming that you've gotten in trouble for and stuff, I want to give you like some time to kind of get some more views and more people knowing about that case and kind of knowing what's going on. So it's Joe Clyde Daniels, right? That's his name. Okay. So go ahead.
He was a 5-year-old nonverbal autistic boy. So definitely a handful for parents who are not mature enough to handle that sort of thing. And the father is on trial right now for murdering him, but there's literally no physical evidence to implicate him, which is crazy. And he, but the thing is, it's here in Tennessee where I'm at. And it's about, I'm not even sure how far away they are, but there's actually an hour's difference. They're actually in Central Time and I'm in Eastern Time. But the father's on trial for murdering him. But the cool thing about Tennessee, though, is you can be convicted on circumstantial evidence. And there is an overwhelming amount of circumstantial evidence. I mean, there's no physical evidence, but there's tons of circumstantial evidence. And it's pretty easy for the police to put together pieces and create a picture. And that's what they've done. That's what the prosecutor's done. The defense, it's crazy because his defense attorney is a public defender. But he's not employed with the state or the county. What I found out recently is that he has his own private practice, and sometimes the judge will actually appoint a private practicing attorney as a public defender to the person on trial. So this guy's getting all the treatment, man. He's getting all the breaks. And I'm loving this judge. I'm absolutely loving this judge, the way he's handling everything. Because it turns out that this public defender is very, very annoying. He's very irritating. And he beats a dead horse on a constant basis. He does not take the judge's ruling respectfully. And the judge is handling it with such grace. It's fascinating to watch him. His name's Judge Wolf. So I just, he's the wolf, I'm all about the judge. And the prosecutor's just doing a great job. And I mean, it's a fast trial. It's only been a week, and they just did closing arguments today. So now the jury's deliberating. And yeah, you're muted. You're muted. She doesn't know that she's being, yeah, okay. I do that all the time. What were you saying?
Didn't you say the judge was like getting annoyed a little bit with kind of how?
Clearly. Oh, it's obvious. It's obvious that he's getting annoyed. But he's handling it just so professionally and so well. And he even makes these fun little passive aggressive jokes that are really just, yeah, it's a very entertaining trial to watch. But at the same time, it's irritating, again, for the same reasons as Leticia. We know this guy did it, and he tried to cover it up. He got rid of all the physical evidence. See, this guy, what people are underestimating this guy, because when you look at him, he just looks like some yokel from, backwoods Tennessee, right? He's got that slack-jawed look on his face, you know what I mean? And so it's easy to, he's frumpy, so it's easy to just assume by looking at the guy that he's not real smart. But the fact is that he got tested, and he scored at a near genius level. So he knows exactly what he did. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not very good at lying about it. He's all he's done is basically just send the police on wild goose chases as to where Joe Clyde's body is. And so, but I'm confident at this point, because the judge actually made it a point before the jury deliberated to make it a point to say, you can absolutely convict on circumstantial evidence. If the circumstantial evidence is overwhelming, you can convict on that as well as physical evidence, either or both. I hearing him say that made me feel better, because at least the jury can go back there, and instead of having the mindset of, man, I know he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know he did it, but we can't convict on him because the prosecution failed to present evidence. But they didn't fail to present evidence. They presented tons of circumstantial evidence, which you can absolutely convict on. So I'm really
better than nothing, circumstantial evidence.
Well, a lot of states you can't. A lot of states you cannot convict on circumstantial evidence.
I didn't know that. I don't know how I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'm excited to find out what happens. I'm concerned as to how long they're going to deliberate. So hopefully it's pretty quick, like the Chauvin case. Because I mean, this defense attorney at one point was doing some really good lawyering. You know what I mean? Even the judge told him that he was doing really good lawyering. But he's overall, I think he failed to convince to create doubt, which was his job, is to create doubt in even just one juror, which we remain. I mean, I just don't see one juror being adamant and going, I'm not convicting based on what I'm seeing here. You cannot, I can't do it. So I just don't see a hung jury happening here. So I hope it doesn't take too long to deliberate.
Dylan has been following it with you. She lives in Tennessee as well. She said the jury just asked to review the confession tape. Just got that update.
Thank you, Dylan. That's great to know. Dylan has been very, very helpful with updates and stuff in my chat. So
Dylan is wonderful. I've been begging her to start a channel. I think she might finally do it, but I don't know. Hopefully she will. And a lot of people hadn't heard of that case, and they're thanking you for bringing awareness, which is really important. Will you go live when they decide, let out what the jury decided?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to go live later tonight on the news on the alternate channel, but I'm not sure yet. But right now, the Cherry K is my number one moderator. She's saying that they're watching the confession footage now, and reviewing the confession footage, because that's the one thing. The defense's whole argument right now is that he was coerced. And you know, I just don't see that. I think that they were giving him a little give and then cornering him a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then once he finally confesses, then he breaks down, and it's a whole production. He's why? Yeah, it's ridiculous to watch. Yeah, that's the main reason why I got mad about my channel getting struck, because now, like, all that good stuff is out there, and and that's what I do, is I make fun of that stuff. I mean, they showed a karate video, like, why? And his defense played it as evidence, which is like, it's a weird little taekwondo demonstration video that he did, and it was hilarious. And then there was the whole sexting that was going on. It comes out that he was involved in there was a second guy involved, and she was cheating on Joe Ray with this guy, but the way it started was in a threesome between the three of them. So yeah, I mean, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. And then you got him doing the karate video. I was like, man, that was why I was mostly mad about that, because I was gonna go do a whole live on the karate videos and the, and the sexting. Talk about that, because
some people were asking, I don't know if they saw the update about your other channel, what you were going to do in the next, if you're doing anything in the next few days. Okay, Allie, before we leave, can I please ask you, what is your status for your channel, and if you will be doing anything the next few days?
Well, yeah, I put up the second channel because I have Patreon members, and I have to deliver them content. I'm obligated to deliver them content. They've committed to me, so I have to commit back to them, obviously. So that's the main reason why that exists. But the status of the channel is it was fair use. I was stricken. That's what happens, is they strike you, and then if you dispute it, which I did immediately, if you dispute it, then they'll get at some point review it. Last time I got stricken, it took a couple of weeks for them to review it and everything.
That really, really sucks.
Yeah.
And then I want to make sure and ask, Teresa said to ask, what are your thoughts on the pieces of the car found yesterday by David?
Real quick, sorry. Jennifer Green is saying, I can see the glare channel. It's not that my channel got taken down. I just can't stream live. The videos that are up are up. You know, you can watch those videos, but you can't. I can't stream live on it. So yeah, that's really all it is. And what was your question again? I'm sorry.
Teresa, I need to get a hobby. No, this is your hobby. It's all of our hobby too. True crime. It's fun. But she said, what are your thoughts on the pieces of the car that were found yesterday by David, I think?
Oh, I didn't even know about that. I was too busy like trying to set up the other channel. Yeah, because I did hear that there was police at the house or something like that, but I didn't know what became of that. Honestly. So yeah, so unfortunately I've been very distracted and I don't really know of any updates in details in the case that happened in the last 24 hours, except for the fact that the jury is in deliberation right now.
Hold on 1 second. Oh man, change my lights all up. Sorry. These lights are really cool. I'm
But if
gonna
so,
show
that's
you.
great because that's physical evidence that they have. So if that's the case, then great, you know.
Hi, Kelly. Okay, I hate to run so fast, but I have to go. I'm getting blown up to give someone a ride, and yeah. But I'm so glad you came on. This was a great chat, and people loved it. I mean, people in the comments were loving it, and yeah, it was really good. So you should come back sometime.
I would love to, and I'd love to have you on my channel as well. I think you're great.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to turn this off. There we go. Yeah, I would love to do that. That'd be awesome. I think you're great. And thank you. I appreciate you for trying to help stand up for these little voices that have had their voices taken, you know? And I think that's really special. And you're awesome. Everybody, please go to his channel and check it out. He's really great. But yeah.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure to be on here. I look forward to doing it again, either here or over there. Yeah, I love talking to you.
Yes, it was so awesome. Okay, well, we'll make plans for that in the future, and then I will be back on here maybe.
Hey,
Sunday.
DCP Tom's in the house. What's up, dude? Sorry, I had to say hi to somebody.
Hey, Tom.
Homeboy.
Yeah, I'll be back Sunday, you guys, with my little chart for the Lori Vallow case. I have to figure out, okay, if I'm drawing on like a big poster board, would I use my front-facing camera or rear-facing camera so it wouldn't be backwards?
I probably the front-facing one.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. I would do a test before you do it. I would just give it a little test.
Do you have the option to turn your camera around on StreamYard, like to the front to the other side?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, because on a phone you have a camera in the front and you have a camera in the back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but on my computer, I just have a webcam sitting on top of my laptop.
Okay, let me see something real quick. I'm just going to do this right now. You tell me if you can read this. Let me turn on the light again. Just whatever light. Okay. So I got these giant poster boards and then these little ones. But these are I'm going to do like the blueprints of a house. But so is this backwards or no, it's not, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yay! Oh my gosh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, see, I got these giant boards and there's a lot to that case. You need the
Vallow thing. Yeah, the Vallow Daybell thing is just it's like I said in your chat. It was like a like a bunch of wires messed up and tangled in the back of an entertainment center. That's what it's like.
I missed that comment. That's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you, chat, for being here, and thank you to all my mods. I love you guys. You are so wonderful, and thank you for keeping the chat good, you guys. Everybody was really awesome today, and Will, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys soon, okay?
All right. Thanks again.
Bye.
Later.